But maybe you're a medium, dude. Like maybe you're for legit, or like a weird, like you're weird way.
Well, I could say this: I can't fit in a medium.
Welcome to Splintered Spirits, a podcast hosted by me, Gary, and my nephew, John Santa, from @SantaParanormal on TikTok, where we try to prove his theory that ghosts are the fractured memories of the living. We spent the last 3 eps with psychic medium Kathy Nadal, and while we still don't know what they are, we feel pretty confident that there are actually spirits surrounding and communicating with John. The new question is, why him? And if we can get to the bottom of what makes him a conduit for spectral activity, that will get us closer to figuring out what spirits are. In this ep, Johnny and I hang and discuss where things stand, tell some ghost stories, and solve some of life's more immediate problems, like where to grab dinner. Let's dive into the conversation. When we brought Kathy Nadal into the basement and did that, it is a great one. And the thing that's what we walked away with, because look, okay, we were starting out with this idea of, all right, is it a haunting or is it an apparition? What is it that you're hearing? And then are you somehow deciphering the signals and talking about AI? Are you an AI that it reinterprets signals from spirits that may have been imprinted there? But bringing Kathy in there really changes the game. Doesn't explain to us yet what ghosts are, but maybe it explains a little more what you are?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Now, why do you not think you're a medium?
Just because I'm not. I don't feel anything. There's no feelings. There's no premonitions. It's not like I hear something go, oh, I think this is the way it's going to be. I think this is what my inner gut is telling me. And I got a big gut. You know what I mean? Like there's no, there's none of that. It's dude. And I maybe it's because I find the whole concept of energy being nonsense, like that whole healing energy thing, that whole it's all nonsense. There's only one energy. There's only one energy that we have as humans. That's our magnetic field. End of story. That is it.
Well, you said yourself in that basement with her, like in that room, you said you have this feeling of like you're in jello.
So, but that's atmospheric, and that has nothing to do with spirits. Like so for
I don't feel like I'm in jello.
Yeah, like so like for all right. So I see your point there. But like for example, if like I remember like I'll apply it to a bar, go to a dive bar, right? And I'm in a bar and there's a bunch of people. It's chaotic. People are drinking this, that, and the other. One person will walk in the room, and I'll be like, oh, fuck, this person's here. I don't even have to see him. I already know. I can feel that they're here. And I do it all the time. I used to freak out my friends all the time.
But doesn't that go against what you just said? You are feeling something?
Well, because I'm not directly feeling it. I feel the change in the atmosphere.
But isn't that what a medium is in a way? Like
Well, I thought mediums just get downloads. I thought that's the whole thing. Like the spirits talk to them directly.
Well, she says she has to go into a meditative state. She does that before she arrives to like sort of open her mind up.
Yeah.
Have you ever sat and just sort of like...
Of course. I know exactly what you're saying. Of course. I actually do the opposite when I'm in a really bad place. So like, for example, if I'm at Buckout one night and it's like horrible.
Right.
Like it's like they're telling me to die every 2 seconds. They're talking about this. They're talking about that. Hearing things in the woods. I'm there for 3 hours, saturated in all that. I'll go to a quiet place and just...
Whenever you hear something in the woods, do you listen back to the tape and hear it?
Sometimes.
Or do you ever hear things that has not been recorded?
Yes.
Dude.
Everything. Like I hear things that haven't been... That I'll hear something and it won't pick up. I'll hear things that definitely I didn't hear when I was there the first time. It's everything. Like there's...
But maybe you're a medium, dude. Like maybe you're for legit, or like a weird, like
in a weird way. Well, I could say this: I can't fit in a medium.
That's funny. Oh my god! But like but seriously, like we're trying to figure out. Like, we're having some fun here, trying to figure out how this works, and it is a fun experiment of talking about. What are we, right? I think that's the part of the fascination is just like, what are we, dude?
Oh, 100%.
Where are we going? And it becomes
like, listen, one big thing me and you have in common is we're both atheists.
100%.
100%. We both know that there is no high governing power that dictates all of this. There's too much evil in the world. There's too much. Religion tries to explain it, but no, it's chaos. It's literally nature is chaos. It's the randomization of it. Me and you could be sitting here having a great time and the fucking building explodes. Okay? Boy, that was the hand of God, my ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know that.
Yeah.
We both know that. However, science can't explain exactly what happens to us when we die. And if energy can't be created nor destroyed, there's no way that who we are, our personalities, fizzle out. There's no way. That has to go somewhere.
It has to go somewhere. I mean, I do agree with that. And
it has to go somewhere.
And there is, look, this whole thing.
Whether it's our family, whether it's, DNA, whether it's whatever, it goes somewhere.
Yeah, this whole thing has been a fascinating process just in general for me, because I didn't believe, my reading with Kathy was the first reading I've ever done.
Yeah.
I didn't even play the whole thing. And I'll admit, there was a lot of it that I've thought about a lot, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I only used like the first 3 or 4 minutes when she hit home.
Can I interject real quick on that? You want to know why it didn't make sense to you? Because it had nothing to do with you. If she truly has a gift, okay, there is no way she can control it.
But that's what I'm saying is when she got specific,
she nailed it, and that's because if she's truly a medium, which she impressed me, which is a hard thing to do because I am the biggest skeptic. The fact that she literally, like for example, she said, "Oh, this has to do with your past. This has to do with this. This has to do with that." No. Kathy, you were wrong. This had nothing to do with my past. This had to do with everything I'm doing right now. She literally brought up every place that I am documenting. She brought up the train. I couldn't figure out what she was talking about. Oh, yeah, I used to go all the time. No, she was talking about the hidden cemetery with the train tracks right there and the trains constantly going by with the hidden tunnel and the graffiti.
Is it possible that she did a hard? I mean, it was only within a few days. I mean, how much could she possibly?
I'll tell you why it's impossible, because some of the things that unless she watched me religiously, which she definitely didn't, okay, she wouldn't know about the tunnels. Because there are very few, I don't think there's any videos showing the actual tunnel with the train tracks. Mm-hmm. All right, there are videos showing the path, but the angle on the path, you can't tell there's a train right there. So there's no way she knew about that. There's just no way.
Right.
You would have to religiously watch me every day for the chance of me going there. Because it's not like I have a schedule like, all right, 5 o'clock, we're going to this spot. No, it's random. I do that because I don't want to get stalked.
Do you ever think back, or did you, after sitting with her, did you ever think back of I know we talked about in our first interview with doing this, you talked about the firehouse as being one of your first experiences.
That's right there.
What would you say is your first, can you think of anything before that as a kid?
I could think of very random things. Like I remember one time when we lived by the high school, seeing this red demonic face with these little black horns all over it looking at me.
I think that's Darth Maul from Star Wars.
Well, this is way before Darth Maul. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is this is way before Darth Maul. And then I remember also
where were you guys living? You were living in which street was that? Right by Marianacci's over there, yeah?
No, that was when I was younger. But that's where my first experience was. But my first two experiences were technically. Tell me the first one was my uncle Billy got this cursed statue of a snake, and my grandmother flipped.
How did you know it was cursed?
Because from a child's standpoint, it's because she was saying it was cursed.
Okay.
It was cursed. It was cursed. It was cursed. And I remember one time.
This is Billy's mom.
This is Billy's mom.
Your grandma.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So.
And this is just so people know, this is your father's youngest brother.
Yes. So he moved up to the attic. All right.
Yes.
And that's where he ended up having that statue. And I remember when he ended up moving out, the statue was still up there, and everybody was cleaning out. And I remember. Everyone's throwing stuff out. Plus, there was tons of other stuff.
How old do you think you were?
Oh, I must have been maybe 8.
Okay.
Maybe 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
And I remember them launching stuff out the window. No, maybe even younger, maybe 6, 5. All right. Launching stuff out the window. And I remember saying, "Hey, the snake is talking to me." and they literally just grabbed it and this thing was worth some money too. Literally grabbed it and launched this thing out the window.
It was like a Horcrux. What are you, Harry Potter now? You can talk.
I don't know. It was crazy. It was weird. But then again, I was a child, so these things I dismissed because who knows what kind of imagination I'm running with, right? And then again,
do you remember what it said?
No, not at all. I just remember it.
Do you remember how it sounded?
Yes, it was like whispering.
Okay.
Like a whisper, like a, hey, how you doing?
Have you ever tried to look it up? Like the imagery of it, the sea or Larry Benefit, like
no.
what?
I don't remember the colors. I just remember I remember it being very large. Well, to a young child, very large, and like driving.
All right,
and
so
whatnot.
so that's young though, dude. For you to have an experience
younger than that, in the same house, I just remember it was this old shitty wood paneling. Like that 60s, 70s wood paneling that was up in a lot of houses back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, and maybe again, this is just me being a child, imagination. I remember looking at all the designs in the wood and seeing things in the wood and then hearing them whisper to me as well. Not the same way the snake did. But again, these things could just been a child's imagination.
Have you ever gone to CAT scan?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, I actually have. Yeah.
What did your brain show?
It was non-existent.
Just show normal activity,
normal
I guess.
activity,
Like it was just
normal activity.
Right.
Normal activity. So, but yeah, I did. I got really sick once, and I had to get a bunch of tests. But yeah, I got one, and
I asked some doctors, or some paranormal psychologists and investigators start from a place of a medical background.
Yeah.
You don't have any like schizophrenia.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I don't hear things. I need to,
Well, you hear shit, but it might be real ghost. I mean,
that's the thing.
So we don't know what it is.
Like 90% of the time, like on live, if I hear a disembodied voice, everybody hears it as well. It's not like one of those things.
You've never heard a disembodied voice that didn't come, or lately, I should say, or recently.
No, it's mixed because there's sometimes where like the phone mic just doesn't pick it up. And that could be a frequency thing, but then there are other times when it does. And then there's other times when people hear things and I don't hear it. And I'm like, what are you guys hearing? But I'm not hearing that right now. And like everybody in the chat is like, John, something just said your name.
But you don't know. I guess my question is, you don't know whether you heard it in your things that aren't picked up on the mic. You don't know whether you heard it in your head versus whether it was actually out in the world for the world to hear. And just so happened didn't get picked up on the mic.
Yes, that's the thing. And I love the way you said that because you have to put that in. You don't know the auditory responses and the visual responses that you're getting while you're out in the middle of the woods, for example, in isolation, no one around you in the middle of the night. Your imagination can run wild.
What's your setup when you go out? So you have this phone, you have two phones. What's recording?
So here, I'll show you right now.
Okay.
That's this phone I usually stream with, and then these are the phones that I use for Vox and GhostTube usually, but I do switch it up with other apps too. So like for example, if I fire up GhostTube.
Which is the one that's not the radio?
That's this one.
Okay, let's use the non-radio one.
Yeah, that's this one.
Okay.
All right. And if you see that green bar on it, all right, good, it went down. It's not going off, right? Okay, perfect. Because that's when you get cross-contaminations from electronics. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me disconnect the... I have it on the Bluetooth speaker. Disconnected.
Start.
So what's recording you?
TikTok.
Oh, just the one thing.
Just the one thing is recording.
Well, I mean, look, one thing we should suggest is maybe start bringing a device. They make things like this even smaller, easy, just to have a separate. Back yourself up.
Yeah.
And see for that audio.
We
should just start testing what's going on with your magic self. You might be dude, I don't know what's gonna happen. You might get a owl coming in giving you an invite.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like through the fireplace soon.
I know.
If this gets popular, because
but I'll tell you something like real crazy. My driver, Frank, is scared shitless of all this. Right? Nothing paranormal.
All right, we have to take a stop. Your driver, Frank.
My driver, Frank.
Please tell me about this and why you have a driver.
I don't drive.
Well, that I know. But it's sort of, but you have a regular person?
So yeah, I have a regular person that drives me around from spot to spot to spot. I was spending up to almost $2,000 a week, depending on where I was going, on Ubers.
So you have yourself your own personal valet.
So now I have my yeah. So now it's like, all right, well, I'll give you X amount a month to drive me around when I need you to. It's not like you need to wait. You drop me off, you come back and pick me up.
And who is he? How old is he? Some older guy?
You know him.
I know him?
Yeah. You know my friend Frank. You've met him before. If you saw, he's the bald dude. He looks Italian, but he's really Cuban.
How old is he?
He's a year younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah, if you saw him, you're gonna be
All
like,
right.
oh
funny.
yeah,
All
I'd
right,
seen that guy before.
So you got Frank driving you around.
So I got Frank driving
he's freaked out. He doesn't like what you do.
And Frank hates picking me up at Buckout. Like hates it.
Because of what time does he have to get you? Is that getting inconvenient?
Any usually it's between 2 and 3 in the morning.
No shit.
So he hates picking me up. So one night he has got he's got music blast, and I can't remember what it was. And I knock on the window and I'm like, yo, just give me a second. I gotta, make sure I get my bag organized because everything's all floppy right now. Oh, you'll organize my bag? And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. But he kept the music off. And then all of a sudden I heard, hello. So I turn and I look at him and he looks at me. And I'm like, step out of the car for a minute. He's like, no, I don't want to. I'm like, come on, stop being a pussy. Get out of the car. So he gets out and he's got the door open still. I'm like, shut the door so you're not hearing the chime of the door. He shuts the door and all of a sudden you just hear, hello. Just throw shit in the trunk. Let's get the hell out of here. Like bugging out.
He doesn't like
it. And
I wouldn't like it.
Yeah. Either. And then I'm like Frank, this is what I deal with on a daily when I come here. Daytime, nighttime, it doesn't make a difference. Buckout, I have not seen anything visual yet at Buckout. I'll be the first person to admit that I have not seen anything visual where I'm like, oh shit, that was a spirit. I've heard more disembodied voices at Buckout than I care to, even admit.
Have you ever, other than the janitor at the firehouse, have you seen spirits?
Oh yeah, all the time. Compared to most people, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my big issues. A lot of people feel that my content is fake because of how many holy grails I have. Holy grails being like, holy grails of evidence.
I see.
And it's like, I have a lot. I mean, the most recent one was I didn't tell you the story about the woman?
I saw the woman. I saw the video. Is that the one you put where it's like she's there and it looks like she's not there?
Yeah.
And you put it on TikTok. I saw that.
Yeah. And so I spoke to that woman before I went live. I actually had a conversation with her. Very brief, very simple. I thought she was just a drug addict. I thought she was somebody who was just on heroin. To be honest with you, my first impression of her, sunken in eyes, pale skin.
Wait a minute.
She looked all cracked out.
You spoke to a person.
I spoke to her. What?
Yeah.
I spoke to her. And very simple conversation. Oh, I love it back here. Yeah, it's so peaceful. That's why I come back here. All right, have a good day. That was it.
And then she disappeared.
And then I go and I set up live.
Yeah.
I set up live and we're watching her and I keep saying, yo, that's not a spirit over there. That's a woman. I'm
not sure how either.
I'm speaking to her and everyone's like, John, no, that's a spirit. She's disappearing and reappearing. She's disappearing and reappearing. And I'm like, no, she is not. I'm like, no, she is not. I spoke to her. That's a real person. She's just a drug addict. Drug addicts don't disappear and reappear, John. Then finally I started.
Not unless you got some money.
Not unless you got, yeah. So come to find out, after reviewing everything, I was like, holy shit, the chat was right. She's literally disappearing and reappearing. She puffs off to a puff of smoke.
I'm not sure.
And then reverts back.
I'm not sure how either.
To the spot where she was. Which is actually very a common thing that spirits do, almost like loops, if you will.
Who are we talking to? Who do you think's talking to us right now?
So I did a session earlier today, and a spirit named Lucy came through. I don't know if that's her again, though.
Kathy brought up a Lucille, something like that.
A Lucy came through, and she has arthritis in her hands, and she was a seamstress. She did sewing. So that's how we had a session here today at 12. That's what
and you got all of that at your session.
In that session, yeah.
Told you that what you did for a living.
Yeah. So, which is normal, like a lot of those, the factory sessions here in this room don't do as well because the spirits aren't all like blood destruction. It's more like actual.
Have you ever asked? Do you ever have Random? Is it? I didn't hear what you just said. You might have said random.
Sounded like she said Brandon.
Random or random. Have you ever tried to figure out, like, really get to, like, where are you? What are you?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here? What do you want? Where are you going?
Once they come through, they have to come through a certain way for me. It can't be broken up. You know what I mean? Like once once I know that like they're responding to each question,
flame.
You know, then I know like flame.
Yeah.
What are they talking about? They talking about the candles? Was there a fire?
Okay.
Are they cold? Could be a million and one things. But once they're coming through and they're at, like last night, when we go to the building,
mm-hmm.
I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
I built a spirit box, and we're gonna test it out.
Okay, that's good.
And I ran a test of it last night. 30 seconds and a woman named Annie comes through. Annie, 30 years old, fluent conversation. And then I asked her a bunch of questions. I was about to get into like the good stuff.
Okay.
And then she fizzled out.
Okay.
So there's windows. Sometimes it's 20 seconds. Sometimes it's 20 minutes.
Have they ever had a conversation with them asking them about you?
Yes. Yes. All the time.
And like, in what sense? Of like talking like, why me? Have you ever done the why me? Why am I the guy you're talking to?
That I've never asked them.
Maybe we'll do that over at the.
We could.
Let's get into it a little bit with them and see like
that I've never done. I've never said, hey, why are you talking to me? Like, why do you want to speak to me? What is it about? I've never asked those questions.
Now on this app, did you buy like a voice pack so like, but they choose which voice? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
so that's the dynamic.
So there's a random selection of
that's
voices, but you're not, because I like the phone. For anybody, no one can see this, but the phone is on the other side of this table here. No one's touching it. It's doing its own thing, and I'm just sort of curious. So basically, there is a set amount of voices on this app. And the spirits are apparently choosing which voice they want, because a guy's voice or a whisper can come through at any time.
At any time. Which is also, you know, and that leads it up to interpretation as well. Like, how accurate are the spirits?
Is the app randomizing it or no?
And is the app well? That's the other thing, and these are the dangers of these apps.
Cemetery.
You don't know because think about it. If you're developing an app for talking to spirits,
mm-hmm.
and even if it's legit, let's say you actually have a legit app that speaks to spirits, what's stopping the developer from tweaking the code for word prompts?
But just to get you hooked.
Just to get you hooked. Just to add in a little bit of security, if you will, to the legitimacy. But they still seem
to be speaking. I mean, they're saying your name.
They say my name all the time. It's insane how much they say my name.
And one of them said my name once. Yeah. I mean, is it really listening to? Is the app listening to then throw it back at us?
See, now that is where my style of documentation is very important. One thing I don't do, and especially at cemeteries, is I never say the spirit's name. Like,
Hello, John.
Hello, what's your name?
So that's the app?
That's the app, yeah.
Is this the radio one, or this is the one we're doing?
That's the radio one.
That's the one you like more.
That's the one I like more. Yeah. So, you know, I don't say a spirit's name. I refuse to, because just in case there is code on that app that'll regurgitate that name. So I refuse.
Well, we've said Edward 100 times.
But that's Edward. Edward, you know what I mean? Like that. I've been documenting Edward for years.
Right.
So at this point, it's like if you're going to say the name or not, it's still going to come through. These are for like new spirits that I've never spoken to before.
Right.
You know, like when that spirit Lucy came through. Okay, she said my name is Lucy. No one said the name Lucy. Nobody nope. We weren't even I didn't even know that.
Well, certainly not today.
Go there.
Yeah. Oh, I went there.
Not today, but I mean, Kathy brought it up.
Well,
you know what I mean? But that was 2 weeks ago,
2 weeks ago, and we weren't using any of these.
That's right. We didn't.
And remember, all my equipment was actually already at
we didn't use the voice box here.
We didn't use the because it was all at the building, and everything was there for that because we were going to use it there when we got there.
That's right.
So this phone wasn't even there. It wasn't even here that day. I know you're here. Can you say hello to my guest?
Why do you like talking to John? Why do you talk to him? Why him? What am I doing? You get sucked up in it, dude, because
do.
there's something weird.
Yeah. It's very weird, but that's one of the things that I make sure I don't do is say the spirit's name, especially at cemeteries. I wait for them to say it. And if they don't say it, then they don't say it.
Now, do you think if I turn it on my phone, will it come through both phones?
It technically should. They usually, so the data I have on that is that spirits will go back and forth between devices.
It's this one, right?
Yeah, that's Vox. So that's the
But
other one.
I didn't pay for anything. This is the
Yeah,
basic sort of business.
So all right, so then the only thing
How do I set it up?
so you can't if you didn't pay for anything, all the settings are locked.
So what? But is it ready to go?
It's ready to go.
Will Ghost
Yeah.
start talking to me
It's
now?
ready to go, and we have about 300 megabytes of that it's willing to use.
So I gotta turn the sound on.
Yeah. So we just can't play with the settings now.
Oh, mine's got a reverb on it or something.
Yeah, we can't touch it because we got to pay for it. You want me to turn mine on?
No, just do it. Let's just see what happens. Maybe they'll start talking to each other.
Yeah. Oh, that happens too. That's a very, very,
No, it
very
doesn't.
common thing. Yeah, they speak to each other. And here's the crazy thing. And this got brought up a bunch of times. The two apps you're running right now are made by the same company.
Okay.
Okay, so one can argue, someone like
Sure.
me and you would
Yeah.
both argue they're working together. They have code that's making them communicate with each other, like Furbies.
That seems
Okay.
that seems very high tech.
Okay.
Even more high tech than normal.
Yeah, but it's easy code for these app developers.
Okay.
So what happens?
Right.
what-
So anybody listening, any reverbed spirits is the sound coming through my phone because I didn't pay for any extra sound box or voices.
you could pay to affect the actual. So yeah, yours is actually going to be really different because when
Yeah.
you pay the $11.99 a year or whatever it is,
Mhm.
you can change the reverb, the echo, the distortion,
Yeah.
and you can turn off the setting that right now as we speak, nothing's going to come through because it knows we're speaking and it doesn't want to talk over us. You can turn that off with the paid. You see, watch. You see, look. You see that? Right.
Yeah.
You see how it cuts it off?
Yeah.
So that's with that. But what happens if you take a completely different app made by a completely different programmer, especially a competitor? One you know they're not going to have any codes when they're going to.
Worked here.
You worked here.
You said that she worked here before.
Yeah.
What did you do here? I know you told him before, but why are you telling Johnny you worked here? What do you want him to know about why you worked here? And why him? My ghost is creepier, dude.
I'm so nice. Is that the reason? Because you're nice?
I'm telling you right the now, if you haunt my phone,
It doesn't work
if you
that
just
way.
curse my phone with
I
ghosts,
mean, listen, anything can get an attachment, but
they're
it's
going to attach
rare.
to my phone?
well, if you let them,
Can
You
you repeat?
you got to be like, no, you can't.
I don't want it to attach. I don't want anybody leaving any ghost business on my phone.
There you go.
I want to have my phone ghost free.
You should
You
be
got it?
You should be good.
You could talk through it, but do not stick and haunt my phone. I love my phone.
So If-
Unless you're going to give me the Wordle answers faster.
if I turn around and put a competitor's app on, then what happens?
I don't know. You tell me. Have you tried it?
Oh yeah.
And what happens?
I can tell you this, they still talk to each other.
Okay, so it's still with you. It still comes through.
They still talk to each other. And
So
it's
you still-
insane. And
yeah.
it's like, wait a minute, okay, that doesn't make sense. Because there's no way that they're gonna the same developer that developed that app developed that app.
Right.
So it's so easy for them to put that code
Right.
in, like, oh, if you
I
hear
guess it's easy. I
Yeah,
don't know.
oh,
I mean,
yeah.
let's just assume it is because
Yeah.
neither one of us are coders.
Yeah, no, but it's when it comes down to it. If they can do all this, they can do that too. But with a competitor's app, forget about it. Then it's a different story. Then it's like, wait a minute, how the hell are these spirits having having the same conversation from two different phones with two completely different apps that have nothing to do with each other?
Is there anybody in the family that has had this gift or
Listen.
curse?
Listen, my mother, and I love my mother to death. She says a lot of things like, oh, this person does this person does that, this person has this person has that. But like,
I'm just saying, is it hereditary from
I
somewhere?
don't think so. Anything that she's ever like shown me about that bullshit, like it's like, nah, there's nothing compares to like what I do at this level. You get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be egotistical. It's just the truth.
Right, but but your mother thinks that the ghosts come from
her side.
So your grandfather's side.
Yes. However, though, wasn't Gracie into the what's it called? I'm pretty goddamn sure at one point Gracie was all into that Italian witchcraft shit.
I don't know if those guys ever
the Maloiki and the what? I'm being serious. You gotta ask Grandma Annie about that.
Maybe we'll talk to her about it.
Yeah,
I doubt she's
see what she says. Because I'm pretty sure, I don't know, maybe it's just as a child seeing all the things in the house.
Well, it's like,
like I remember these things, but like, I don't know. It's just where I growing up, talking to everybody, there was nothing about spirits or ghosts until I started documenting. That's all. Think about it.
Well, look. That's what I'm saying.
Do you remember anything about anything like that?
But
No.
you couldn't even have done this 10 years, 20 years ago.
Well, I was. I started doing this when I was 18. My first actual official thing was across the street.
Well, you were recording? You were using like the basic shit.
Yeah, I was using basic stuff.
But you weren't talking to ghosts like on this level.
No, because it was all playback. It was all, you just put the recorder down, ask your questions, and then listen to it after and see if it was more of, let's see what answers you rather than let's have a fluid conversation.
All right, so I have 2 questions. One, where do you want to go to dinner?
Wherever. Have you ever heard of Giovanni's?
No, where is it?
It's actually right behind you. One of my followers dropped off 2 wedges earlier. It's an Italian. It's a chicken cutlet, balsamic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you want it, you can have it. Well, we can go eat somewhere. I'm fine with that. It's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, well, let's go out to eat.
Okay,
I thank you for that. I mean, but like, let's go eat somewhere.
Yeah, we can
The second question is, how do we heighten your medium abilities?
If they exist.
Some exist. I want to push that boundary, and then to the point. How do we amp up the medium juices in you to get us? I don't know. To help us get answers.
Honestly, you want to amp up the medium juices? Probably running 2 miles a day in the morning might help.
You think it's related to health?
No, but actually, now here's the real crazy thing. I think it's related to magnetic fields, and magnetic fields are related to health. But here now, did you hear about the tick debacle when I got bit by the tick?
Yeah.
So I got severely sick from allergic reaction just for a tick bite that I had for 4 hours. It's the 23rd of December, 2024. So I've never been bit by a tick before, and I used to work outside.
What were you getting less? Were you getting less stuff?
No,
more stuff.
I wasn't getting less stuff. I actually cleaned a grave the next day, and it was a really good live. When I went, and this is what blew my mind, when I went to the doctor, and they did, the initial test. They took my blood pressure, and I haven't had my blood pressure taken in, God knows how long.
Sure.
Maybe 10 years. Okay.
Right.
Like, I don't go to the doctor like that. So they took my blood pressure, and she looked at me and she goes, "You really drink 3 Monsters a day?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Dude, that stuff is disgusting.
I know it is.
You can't drink this stuff.
And she goes, "You really smoke a pack of cigarettes a day?" And I'm like, "Yes." She goes, "Your blood pressure is amazing." And I said, "I don't know how. It's bad in my family. Like, it's not, blood pressure is a really bad issue. Like, yeah, I should not have amazing blood pressure, but I do. So psychic. I don't know if I just have a really healthy, strong heart that illuminates my magnetic field and allows this stuff to happen."
Well, imagine if
I didn't. I know.
Imagine if you lost.
Yes.
Imagine if you lost a few pounds and you got super healthy.
Yes.
And what kind of signals?
What would happen?
Well, dude, for science.
You
need to fucking.
Right? Yeah. The spirits aren't going to call me fat anymore.
Well, after the holiday, but then they'll call you something else.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now they just have to call you ugly.
Yeah, right.
No,
now you're just an ugly boy.
No, but you're a good looking dude. I mean, it's like but it's like the weight is not going to last. That kind of weight, you got to lose a little weight. You're getting old. I worry about.
Hell yeah.
As we discuss how to diet before we go to an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, right.
I think we got to amp up your medium ability and really play up
if there is a medium ability.
Dude, but we got to test it because it's like this is
You
all
know,
part of the
like,
test. Because if
yeah.
there's something there, I think that'd be fun. Yeah, dude, it's
Haunted.
more than just haunted. He's a magnet for you.
Yeah,
But it's
that is true. Like that, I can't. I used to deny that. If you ask any of my followers back in the day, I'd be like, no, I am not a medium or a psychic. I don't attract spirits. This,
well,
that. And
guess
the
what,
other.
followers? I think he's a medium.
Yeah.
Might not be a psychic yet, but he might be a medium.
My now, if you want to talk about that for a minute,
Please.
I believe in the multiverse. I believe that this is gonna down a rabbit hole conversation.
Like everything, everywhere, all at once.
Oh, so thank you. so I believe in the multiverse, and I believe that we are connected via our magnetic fields on a quantum level to ourselves in the multiverse.
Is that different than? Do you think that's different than these spirits?
No, not at all. Not
Do you
at
think they're alive somewhere else? Is my question, I guess.
It depends on the flow of time, but possibly. If another universe time moves different, or it's defined as something different, then quite possibly yes.
So these spirits might not be
dead in another universe.
How would they be talking to us though? Why? What are they talking through? What universe are they in that they can be?
So think of it like this, right? Deja vu.
Yes.
Have you ever?
I saw The Matrix.
Have you ever experienced deja vu?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think everybody has.
Everybody has, right? What is deja vu?
What is it?
What is it? It's the feeling of, oh, this has happened to me before.
Yes, correct.
Right? However, what if that deja vu is because of yourself in the multiverse? Yeah, it didn't happen to you. It happened to another version of you.
But we're all connected, you think?
But we're all, I firmly believe we are all connected. And so, like, I'm really good at interpreting the future from that. Like, I get constant daydream deja vus. It's not even, I've done it on live. Hell, I did it during the Brown Cemetery restoration. So there was a tree that looked like it was going to come down.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it, and I shook it, and it wasn't there yet. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not going to worry about it. The next day I get there, I'm working in there. All of a sudden I look at the tree and I doze off. You see me on live, just stop working and I doze off. Because I do that sometimes. I think it's because of my ADHD, but maybe it's something else. And then I all of a sudden stop. I look at the phone and go, we're taking that tree down today. That tree's coming down. So I called up my buddy and I'm like, hey, you got a chainsaw? I need you to come over here. I need to take this tree down. He's like, I can't do it today. We have to do it tomorrow. I'm like, this tree is coming down regardless. I'm like, whatever. If it destroys a headstone, I'll fix it. You know, I can't take it down today. The next day we get there, half the tree came down. Luckily, it missed all the headstones. Everybody was like, holy shit, how did you know that? And I'm like, I literally daydreamed it. I daydreamed it happening at the deja vu moment.
Maybe you're more like...
But it wasn't me. But that was the other thing, too. Like, what I saw happening, it was a thinner me. Okay, I had long hair. Like, it wasn't me. Like, that tree came down fully for somebody else and only partially came down for me is what I'm getting at.
Well, maybe you're just like this diamond in the rough of the psychic medium world because you haven't been trained properly in order to do it.
Saying I can't join the Jedi Order?
Maybe not.
Like...
Maybe, or you're like the Goodwill Hunting of paranormal as opposed to like the tech world. You know what I mean? Because you're not like trained in academia. I wonder who we can get to run you through tests. Maybe you're an alien.
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Listen.
No, but like maybe there is.
Day and age,
but maybe you know what? Maybe we gotta find out
the drones.
How do we get you like a baseline? We need a baseline psychic medium test.
There is none. That's the problem.
There is.
None.
Somebody does these tests on people.
But can you trust them?
But maybe it would be fun to somehow
if we were, I'm sorry to cut you off, if we were able to get multiple different tests.
Well, yeah, but we'd have
that's a different story.
But there's a lot of different ways to do it. But like testing, maybe in order to find out, it seems like this. In order to find out what ghosts are, we may need to first find out what you are.
Yeah.
Like, and really,
I hope I'm human.
And just like, how are you doing it? And maybe that is the trajectory of this. And with that,
I can tell you this: my mood affects it too. That's another thing I'm discovering.
Well, when you're on your period, I'm sure it affects that changes everything.
If I'm in a bad mood, dude, let me tell you something. If I'm in a bad mood, I am. It is like all you hear is spirit chatter. Caution. All you hear is spirit chatter. You just hear this random spirit chatter that kind of puts together a story, but it's nothing like something actually responding to me. You're stupid. Is it?
Do full moons affect you at all?
No. In fact, I've had some of my best conversations on new moons.
Okay, interesting.
But it's a mix. It could be a full moon.
You've never noticed a change in any of that.
I was at one point in time, my third year. On my second year, close to the end of the second year of doing this, I started paying attention to the moon phases, the
tides,
everything. Like I'd go on my phone, I check to see what everything is listed as, percentage-wise, write it down, and then go. And then the next day I'd go, same thing, and I'd see if there was any correlation with anything, and it is completely random. And then I realized the one factor that I wasn't incorporating was myself. And then I started paying attention, and I realized if I was in a shit mood or I didn't feel like talking to the spirits and I just wanted to chill, and I didn't do that, it just wasn't the same as if I was actually wanting to speak to the spirits.
Can you repeat?
Basically, I have to be in the mood.
Yeah. Like a lady.
Yeah,
he has
like
to
a lady.
be in the mood.
I have to be in the mood.
No, but dude, okay.
I just can't perform. I have to I have to be in the mood.
All right. With that, let's go get something to eat.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to Splintered Spirits. In the next episode, we go back to the fireplace room with Edward, remember him, and try to kill a ghost. You heard that right. We're going ghost hunting. It's ridiculous, but you're not going to want to miss it. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're streaming this podcast from. And check out our additional content and videos on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, wherever. See you guys next time.